How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the video and welcome to Bald Cafe if you are new here. Today I'm going to give you 11 tips to stop those razor burns and get a more comfortable head shave. So imagine this. Well, some of you might not have to imagine. You finally plucked up the courage to shave that head, fight the balding, beat the balding once and for all. You've got your wet razor out, you've shaved your head, only to find out you get these horrible, painful, irritating razor burns. I think this could be really discouraging for a lot of guys. So let's get straight into tip number 1. So tip number 1 is going to be proper preparation with heat. That means jumping in the shower before you shave your head. Maybe you even shave your head in the shower, get that shower nice and hot, or of course we can go with the classic wrapping of the hot towel. We need to prime the hairs, soften everything up on our head, ready for a more comfortable shave. What you absolutely don't want to do is use cold water or do it on a really cold day. You just go in straight away and apply that shaving cream. Now, tip number 2 is coconut oil. Using coconut oil. What you want to do is put that coconut oil on the head before you apply that shaving cream. Now, this oil is going to allow the razor blades to glide more smoothly across your scalp, giving less irritation and overall a more comfortable shave. Tip number 3 is let the razor do the work. Your razor should be sharp enough and of higher enough quality that it can glide over your hair, over your head, cutting at the hairs. What you don't want to do is go straight in and apply too much pressure, dinging away at the scalp and pulling out those hairs. That is going to cause you a lot of irritation. So tip number 4, let the razor do the work for you. Now that brings me really nicely to tip number 4, which is of course to use a good razor. You've probably heard the saying, you get what you pay for, and it's very true, especially in this case. Don't skimp out on an awful cheap disposable razor, okay? Use a more expensive one because overall the quality is just going to be higher. I myself like the Gillette Profusion 5 Pro Glide, something like that. I really like that one. I'll show it on screen. Okay, I change my blade every 3 shaves. This is an expensive razor. I have to agree. I think it's overpriced, but it gives me the most comfortable shave with the least amount of irritation, and that's why I use this good expensive razor. And tip number 5 is to use an electric razor. Now, some of you guys like me probably like to get that really close shave, as close as you can get it, and that's why we wet shave. But if you're having a lot of problems with irritation and you've tried all the things on this list, nothing has worked, well, maybe you're just gonna have to use an electric razor. Now, I've reviewed 2 on this channel, the Philips One Blade and the Philips Body Groom. I'll put the card up there for you. Now, these razors give you a very comparable shave to a wet razor. It's not quite as close, but especially when I used the Philips One Blade, I had no irritation whatsoever and I still had a really close shave. Now, tip number 6 is to shave with the grain. I don't want you to see this as giving up, okay? Again, we're going for the closest shave possible, but we want comfort. So, if shaving against the grain is causing you too many problems, it's simple, guys. Just try shaving with the grain or across the grain. You're still gonna get those hairs down to as little as you can get them, but without the irritation. I think it's often at the back and the sides when we start to go against the grain that we get a lot of these problems with irritation and with razor bumps. So tip number 6 is to shave with the grain, sacrifice a little bit of that length for some extra comfort. Tip number 7 is to shave more often. Now, this sounds a little bit controversial, but in my own personal experience, if I leave my head growing for about 3 or 4 days, if I come to use a wet razor, that hair is simply too long to use a wet razor on. If I do try to attempt it, what I have to do is I have to keep going over the same areas lots and lots of times. We're talking 3, 4, 5 times over the same area to totally get a clean head shave, and the more times you're going over the skin, the more irritation you're going to get. So if that sounds like you, why not try shaving your head every day? The hair is going to be much shorter, and you're only going to need to pass the razor over once, maybe even twice, and that could result in less irritation and less razor bumps. Tip number 8 is to use hair conditioner. Now this one was brought to my attention by Caesar, who we had on the podcast recently. He's been having a problem with razor bumps, and he found out that you could use hair conditioner instead of shaving cream to shave your head. Now, I haven't done this one myself, but if I had to speculate, maybe it's because of the consistency of the hair conditioner can give you a more smooth shave. Maybe it allows the razor blade to pass over more smoothly, or maybe it's because the hair conditioner might be able to soften up those hairs, making them easier to shave. I'm not sure, but I've heard that it works. So if the other things don't work for you on this list, then try swapping your shaving cream for some hair conditioner. Now, number 9, and we're getting into the more interesting ones now, is to use an aspirin solution. I did some digging for you guys on the internet, and I found out that what you can do is pop 2 aspirins in a little bit of warm water, crush them up. Now, I will say the uncoated variety of aspirin is much better to use. It's going to dissolve much more easily. But if you can't find that, then just crush up a normal aspirin, put it in some water, and then use a cotton swab to apply to the area after you have shaved. So for a lot of guys, we're talking the sides and the back of the head. So after you've shaved your head, make that little aspirin solution, pop it on, leave it on for 10 or 15 minutes, and then you can rub it or wipe it off with a damp cloth. And that aspirin solution should be able to reduce the irritation and get rid of those razor bumps. In at number 10, and very similar to number 9, is using a baking powder solution. We're using sodium bicarbonate here, and again, mix some sodium bicarbonate with some warm water, make a little solution, and it works in a very similar way to the aspirin. So if you can't find any aspirin, baking soda, okay, but sodium bicarbonate is very easily available. Give that one a try. Used in the same way, make it a little solution, pop it on for 10 minutes. Once it's dry and you feel that irritation reduced, you can rinse it off and then moisturize your head like you normally would. Now, number 10, and I mentioned it a little bit there, is proper aftercare. Once you've shaved your head, the skin is going to be dry, and I should say that a little irritation is expected, but you're going to need to get a good moisturizer. Make sure you moisturize all the area where you've shaved your head. It's going to provide you with some comfort and some protection. For those of you who live out in the sunny places, I would advise getting one with some added SPF. So tip number 10 is proper aftercare. Use a good moisturizer after shaving. So the last tip, and number 11, is to clean your razor. I would advise cleaning your razor with alcohol and drying it afterwards. One of the biggest problems with razor blades is you just use them wet, okay, and you just leave them. I've been guilty of this one in the future, but you get corrosion on the blade. It dulls the blade very, very quickly. So the next time you come to use it, the blade's not going to be sharp. It's going to be tugging away at the hairs, and you're going to get those razor bumps and that horrible red, itchy irritation. So what you can do is rinse your blade in some alcohol, let it air dry, or you can use a hair dryer to dry it off a little bit. Look after those razors, and your razor will look after you and provide you with an awesome, comfortable shave. And so there you go. Those are 11 things that you can try to get rid of those razor bumps and have a more comfortable head shave. I hope you found this video really useful. If you did, make sure you give it a like. And if you have any other awesome ways to reduce razor bumps that I didn't mention in this list, make sure you pop them down in the comment section below for other people watching this video to try out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.